Good afternoon and happy Friday. This is Dale Ellentenny with Gus & Cho Associates. Here to talk to you self-employed borrowers out there and remind you of all the options available if you are a self-employed individual. So let's start from the top. Typically, we're going to ask for 2 years tax returns and analyze your self-employment income or your lack thereof self-employment income on your tax returns. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have enough qualifying income off your taxes, you may qualify for an FHA or conventional loan. But then where the options really present themselves well for self-employed people is when you don't show enough there, but maybe your business cash flows really well. So if you're a self-employed borrower, not showing enough on your tax returns to qualify for a property that you want, the next thing I'm going to probably ask you for are your business bank statements. 12 or 20, we could do 12 months, 24 months would give you better pricing. But the basics of that program are we're going to analyze your deposits on a monthly basis over the course of 12 months. And once we add up the total of business deposits, let's say it's $1 million, we're going to net out or subtract 50%. So that's the assumption that we're going to make for the expenses related to your business. So $100,000 a month is $1.2 million for the year, and take 50% off that. That's $600,000 or $50,000 a month in qualifying income. Now, in some cases, you may have a business that tends to have an expense ratio or expense factor that's higher than 50%, and the underwriter may make a decision to use that. And then the other way too, you may have a business that doesn't have a 50% expense factor, and that can be validated by an accountant. So if you feel like your expenses of your business are not 50%, we would ask for a letter from a CPA, the person who does your taxes, certifying they've done your taxes for the last 2 years as a self-employed individual, and then your expenses are something less than 50, whatever that number is. And from there, it's the underwriter's discretion to make a decision on whether they deem that to be acceptable. But once you get past that, it's a great program. 10% down is the minimum down payment. You typically want to have at least a 680 FICO, preferably 720 for that. So then it just kind of scales down from there. 10, 15, 20% down. Those are the common numbers for that program. You're going to have minimum 3, preferably 6 months reserves. So if your payment is $3,000 a month, you're going to want somewhere between $9,000 and $18,000 in reserves. Great program if you're a self-employed borrower. Oh, one other thing here before I forget. I was kind of jumping ahead of myself here. The last option, if for whatever reason the bank statement option doesn't work, there's what we call the P&L program. So if you're a self-employed individual, you could actually provide us with what we call a profit and loss statement. It can be prepared by you, doesn't have to be prepared by anyone else, and you give us, what's your gross revenues versus your expenses and what's your net profit year to date. Now, if you're earlier on in a calendar year, they're probably going to ask you for a P&L from the previous year. That being said, in addition to the P&L, the only thing we ask for is a letter from a CPA certifying they've done your taxes for 2 years and you're a self-employed individual. The other really nice thing about that program that doesn't apply to the other two is, let's say you're a 1099 truck driver and you're a 1099 truck driver for 1 year. Typically, that's going to be a problem in the other two areas because you're not self-employed, quote unquote, for 2 years. On this P&L program, if you were a W-2 truck driver for 10 years before that, and then for the last year you've been 1099, you can still do that program. And the only thing we need beyond the letter from the CPA and the P&L that you prepare is 1 month, not 2 months. 1 month bank statement to validate that you have the funds for the down payment, and then you have 3 months required for reserves. They're all great programs. It's just a matter of finding what works best for you. If you have any questions, give me a call at 630-479-2719, and I'd certainly be happy to help you out. Feel free to share, like to Instagram, Facebook, and what else did I forget? Well, those two. Thank you.